197.
This for career century 1,195. That list just keeps on growing, doesn't it?
$108. And
oh, these tips come off.
okay.
Wow.
And the frame, Ronnie O'Sullivan.
So there's going to be a break here. Well, that's sorted out. That's incredible.
Tips come off.
Tip has come off, so the break ends at 108, and he's going off to sort that out. That's a big concern.
You've seen that his tips come off. Yeah, probably.
Anyway, he leads 1-0.
Welcome back. We've got a little break because Ronnie O'Sullivan's tip has come off. And Neil, we were chatting there. 15 minutes officially. You're going to have 15 minutes to repair.
I don't know what happens at the end of the 15 minutes. I suppose you've got to use a different cue or what. Something's got to happen. But that's as long as you're allowed to get it repaired. I mean, sometimes it'll just be a bit of super glue, bang on. But this, I think he just forced the ball here. The tip goes about as far as the cue ball, I think, but he knew straight away. I thought, why is he so disappointed to that shot? You know, he's made a century break, tips come off. So, yeah, like, there'll be people behind the scenes who can do it. I think Paul Collier is very good at putting them on, Jim, isn't he?
No, you're absolutely right. The tournament director this week, Paul Collier, he's put some really good tips. So, hopefully, whether he puts that tip on or a new tip would probably take more than the 15 minutes.
What would you do?
Well, my tip wouldn't come off.
Yeah.
So.
All right, well, that's fancy saying that.
You know, I don't know. I can't. I don't know what's
nice
happening.
chatting you.
Yeah.
There's a party.
Say get that question again.
Okay, what would you do? Would you put the same tip on or a different tip?
I wouldn't put it on myself, but I'd ask Paul Collier maybe to put the same tip on just to get through this match.
You know how he's so sure? Because he's got his tip nailed on.
Make no mistake.
With a 6-inch nail, it's never coming off. It's too tight to put a new one on.
Thanks, guys. We got there in the end, I think. He was playing some good stuff, though, Jimmy.
Listen, you can see he was really disappointed, you know, and this, I think we're going to show this green, which...
You liked this shot, didn't you?
It's not, I think it's the next shot. He loses position here, and, you know, this is like... Where O'Sullivan is just a phenomenal player and reads the game. He plays his shot of 3 cushions, and he knows if he can get in the area, miss the black, he's going to be on maybe a red in the middle or that red. You know, that's just absolutely sublime. That's why he is the best player in the world.
I think the thing about shots like that, right, is that, I mean, you wouldn't practice that shot. Either you've got the instinct to play a shot that you can see or you can't. Some players could only play that shot if they played it 10,000 times, but that's a shot he's probably never played before, but he's just seen the shot and he's played the shot, and that's it.
Pure.
So we've had an unscheduled break. The tip came off at the end of the century, the 108 in frame 1. It's been replaced, and we continue the match. O'Sullivan leading 1-0.
Yeah, it's going to be quite disconcerting, the first few shots. Ronnie's going to be doing that, looking at it. Does it look like it did before? And it's in the mind as well. And it's difficult to sort of play with a new tip. You don't do it all that often yet. I didn't like that. Ooh, that didn't feel good. So that's something that Ross has got to be mindful of also.
There's a very well-known referee, Laurie Annandale, who was known as a sort of cue doctor and very good at putting tips on. And he was once flown, wasn't he, to a tournament, I think in Belgium, by Stephen Hendry. Put his tip on.
Yeah, it's good to see Laurie. I seen him in Edinburgh recently at the pre-Christmas at the Scottish Open. Brilliant to see him. Great man, great referee, and a great guy. That's a class shot. Yeah, there's the tap. Classy shot, that. And this is Ross's job initially now. You keep Ronnie at distance. Obviously, that's your job anyway, but because of the the potential problems with the tip at distance, it's even more so.
Fall and a miss. Rosmere 4.
Louise Kratz is the referee today, placing the cue ball.
Ronnie? Ross?
Slight adjustment made.
Here's a test. This is one of these with, not going to labour the point, not going to, you know, the new tip thing, that you're just going to try and trust his technique here and forget about anything else. Yeah, he'll be fine close in, but at distance, he'll be a wee bit unsure going forward. So good chance then for Ross to gain a foothold in this match.
One.
No, that's not the best kiss.
7.
It's like Ben Mertens has won that match next door, 4-2 against Jackson Page. So we saw him win that dramatic 5th frame. And the Belgian is into round 3.
8. Unscheduled.
It's come off again, has it? It's come off again.
Yeah.
Chip. Well, this is a major problem now. And again, he's going to have to try and get it sorted out. He's allowed another 15 minutes, but it's turning into a bit of a nightmare, this, for Ronnie O'Sullivan. Here it is again. You can see the tip flying across the table.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, isn't it? It's just the way, you know, it's difficult. You don't get a lot of time to get it sorted. Whoever it was that put it on, yeah, it's one of them. And you're frightened to play a shot with power for that very reason.
Yeah, it's going to be another break, isn't it? He's going to have to try and get it sorted. It's a sort of running repairs situation, really, more than anything, but not what you want when you're trying to progress in a big tournament like this. Ronnie O'Sullivan struggling with his equipment, I'm afraid.
So we're on our second break, allowed break, in terms of the allocated time to repair the tip that Ronnie O'Sullivan has lost off his cue once again.
I just don't know if you can keep on having the breaks. You know, I just don't know what happens. I've only ever known it happen once in a match, and now we've had it twice. We haven't even. What are we in the second frame still, aren't we? I mean, this literally match might never end. You know, what if it comes off every other shot, Jim? Where do we go from here?
It is very rare, isn't it, for it to come off more than once. So I don't know what the situation is. He'd probably have to end up borrowing a cue. But I know that Les Dodd will be on his way from Southport to sort this out.
I don't know if he'll make it in 15 minutes.
That's his tip man there. Look, he's in Shredsville.
The thing is, right, I know we always big up Ronnie O'Sullivan, but he probably is the only player that could use a different cue now and still play well. Like, I mean, if he was asked to play with a different cue, he'd probably still be tough to beat. Do you know? I don't know if you know this, but he mentioned to me, you know, the match he lost to Hossein Vafai in the German last year. He didn't even use his own cue for that match, you know.
Yeah, I heard that. He lost 5-0, so that was a good idea, wasn't it? You know, so hopefully he's learnt from that.
The other thing about that match is he broke off and potted one off the break one frame, Ronnie. So tell me how hard he must have hit the balls.
Yeah, you know, I don't know what the situation is here because, you know, as Neil said, Rossmere must be thinking, you know, what's going on here?
It's not nice to his opponent,
you know,
is it?
no. It's,
Right, well, you know what? We are unsure, aren't we? But the best man for the job is Micah McMullen, a roving reporter. He's at the tournament office. Let's go straight to him now.
Well, as we saw there, Ronnie O'Sullivan's tip has come off for the second time in the match. Now, coming off once isn't that unusual, but for it to happen twice to the same player, just a few minutes apart, that is quite strange. It's been repaired once again by Paul Collier, the well-respected referee and tournament director. Ronnie was in there. We understand he's somewhere around the corner in the corridor. Ross Muir having to wait for the second time. He's standing patiently in a corner of the tournament office, and hopefully we'll be able to get play underway again quite soon. I'm sure Paul, who's very, very good at fixing tips, is taking even more time and care on this occasion in the hope that this doesn't happen for a third time.
I think it's fingers crossed it doesn't happen again. But it's not good for anyone, including yourself, Jim. We're talking about your practice.
No, it's a bit like confusing for Ross Muir because no one knows the rules because it's so unusual for a tip to come on more than once. So I don't know what the rule is. We'll have to find out.
No, the other thing to say is just briefly that Ben Mertens won his match in the end. Really interesting game that he won. So that was nice. We were watching a little bit of that when we were waiting for the tip to be put on the first time. It's over now, that match.
It is over.
4-2, Ben.
Yeah, it is indeed. World champion, is that the third time that he's saying it falsely?
I'm not going to say it again, especially if he gets beaten in it. I won't mention it again then.
Well, they get a great round of applause, I think, from in here as well to see the players back on table one. Ronnie O'Sullivan and Ross Muir, of course, Ronnie with the lead. So let's go back to our commentary team once again. Over to you, Alan and Dave.
So we resume frame two after Ronnie O'Sullivan's tip came off for a second time. Paul Collier, once again, the tournament director, has put it back on again, or tried to. Let's hope it doesn't happen again. I mean, as Neil Foles was saying in the studio, they can't keep taking 15-minute breaks, surely. But anyway,
13.
We're back out. And, of course, in this frame, Ross Muir did have a good chance. He lost his way on 40.
And get an hour or two tonight, I would imagine.
Not there yet. He did go into the reds, as we saw. Didn't land on anything easy.
Actually, there's a lot of talk among players and fans alike about tips as far as which one is the best. There's so many different models these days. But I've never been a great subscriber to it. I just always thought that there isn't a tip that's ever made anyone a better player than what they already are. As long as it's usable and functional. It used to be the old Elk Master was the tradition in the 80s and 90s. But now there's so many different brands, layered. Other tips that are more solid. It's just whatever you prefer, I think. You find what you like, trust it, and stick to it.
Ronnie. Okay, Ross. Foul and a miss. Ross Muir 4.
The obvious question is, could he see one full? Would seem not from there.
Yeah, the red that's 2 away from the pink on the southwest side of it, he can't physically hit it full ball, but if the offending red that's in the way
Ross.
is taken away, then you
If I
could see
call
it.
miss again,
Yeah.
you'll lose the frame.
Yeah.
Yeah, good call. Yeah, that's the red. The second one that's southwest of it,
Okay,
exactly.
this.
Very, very
Full
good.
face.
Louise Kratz.
Yeah, she was on the case. Wow. Well, and he's just whacked it.
I think he hit the pink. I mean, it's a foul anyway, is that?
I'm not sure whether he...
I think he hit the pink first.
The pink then, yeah.
We'll see on a
Foul and
replay.
miss. Rosmuir 6
It'll be the frame.
and the frame.
Wow.
Let's see, if it hit the pink first, then it's loss of frame.
3 miss.
Yeah. The frame has been awarded to Ross Muir. It's 3-3. Incredible. He just whacked it and he hit the pink, not the red. Well, just when you think you've seen everything, look at this again. There's the replay. It's the pink and it's the frame to Ross Muir. Extraordinary way for the frame to end.
Wow, I'm not too sure I've ever seen this before, Neil.
Well, it's the 3 strikes and out rule, isn't it? Poomjang has done it a few times, I can tell you. Mind you, he's done a lot of things. On this instance, to be fair, the referee did well, Louise Kratz, there, because it all happened in a... Well, I mean, Ronnie barely looked at the last one. I don't know if he wasn't pleased with the decision that he could see a red full on or what, but he could. I mean, there's not much good news comes out of this. I'll tell you, there's only one bit of good news, is that... Here it is now. He's been informed that he can see that left red full on, and it's not like a free ball you've got to hit either side. Yes, there's reds in the way, that's irrelevant. The only good news here, right, is that the cue ball didn't kill anybody when it came to the table.
I'm not sure.
Other than that, it's all bad, really, if you're an O'Sullivan fan. But no one got hurt. You know, we're all still alive, and we've got a deciding frame, you know? It's been a pretty dramatic afternoon.
Well,
sometimes with snooker, people say, you know what the story's like, the formula's like. But today, it's not been like that. Ross, what is Ross thinking there? You know, he's not on the tour, wants to get back on. All kinds of things have hit him today.
Yeah, and it's quite amazing, actually, isn't it? At the start of the match, you know, we were thinking, well, Ronnie's probably going to be way too strong for Ross today, but it's not been the case. There's been all sorts of drama, and who knows what the deciding frame might bring yet.
The deciding frame, Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
So, a dramatic afternoon, and we have a deciding frame finish. 3-3, Ronnie O'Sullivan and Ross Muir. It seemed that O'Sullivan had sort of taken back control of the match, but he was called for the third miss. He just got down and whacked the cue ball. He caught the pink, so that is another miss. Therefore, frame awarded to Ross Muir, who was sort of sat there just innocently watching all of that happen. And suddenly it's a decider. But despite it all, he's into round 3 of the Welsh Open.
41.
Worth remembering, he started the match with a century. He seemed to be playing well until all the trouble began.
42.
And he's just dug in and got the result. Ross Muir's had chances. But it is Ronnie O'Sullivan who's avoided heartbreak here on Valentine's Day. He is through to the last 32 of the Welsh Open. A thoroughly engrossing afternoon. His tip came off twice. He lost a frame on the 3-miss rule, full of incident. But the main thing is the result. He's got that. He's beaten Ross Muir by 4 frames to 3.
As quiet as you can, please. There's another match on.
Well, that was a very enjoyable afternoon of snooker. We had a big upset, of course, with Neil Robertson being beaten first on the match table, Dominic Dale taking the opening match. And who'd have thought we'd see such excitement there, deciding frame. But ultimately, guys, Ronnie's won the match. And also he's actually been quite patient, as he's kept his cool there.
Yeah, you know, you've had everything in that match. You had a century break, you had his tip come off, you had 3 fouls and lost the frame. OK, he lost his cool there, like it sort of all come on top for him, and he hit the pink, and it ended up costing him the frame. But you know what? The way he applied himself in that last frame means that, you know, he's determined to get through this match, get his tip sorted out, and go again now.
Yeah, I mean, I can't think that I've ever seen Ronnie lose a frame on the 3 strikes and out rule before. It must be the first time he's done it, but he almost did it out of spite, really. He just sort of just launched the cue. And as Jimmy said, it's all come on top. That's kind of old school London, but that's what it was.
Yeah.
You know, I think he had the hump a little bit, but he did do well to regroup there. He started the match well. You know, then the tip comes off twice. It's a drag, really, let's be honest. I mean, it's just not much fun, is it, the tip to come off once? But, you know, no one really gains anything out of that.
No.
But it was an odd kind of a snooker match. But bottom line is, Ronnie, when the tips weren't coming off and when he was losing frames like that, didn't play badly at all.
No, not bad at all. And obviously, I say he's kept his cool because I think it was quite a frustrating day for Ronnie O'Sullivan. I think credit to Ross Muir as well. He's managed to keep his concentration. Right, if you've been out and about and you've missed this, well, you've missed plenty. This is a break of 108 to start the match, and this is the first instant. Tip goes flying.
Tip goes flying. And I thought, when I first saw it, I thought, well, why is he so disappointed? He's on a century and they've not got on the black properly. He's a perfectionist. But the tip, we didn't realise, I didn't know. Then it comes off again. Luca Brissell behind there watching on. This is the second time the tip comes off. And both shots were played with a bit of pace, you know. So he's obviously got to be careful of the pace. And that's why, when you see the 3 strikes and out one, he hit it about 1,000 miles an hour. You know, so the tip could have come off again there, couldn't it, on that shot? I mean, this was quite something, Jimmy. When the cue ball went on the floor, the camera people survived. But, you know, all that work he did, I don't know, it just kept it going. This was the one, wasn't it? Look at this.
Yeah, he's been warned that he can hit the red. He's a bit frustrated, gets down, tries to hit the reds, and he's hit the pink and gone off the table.
We thought the cue ball was coming in here.
Yeah, coming up here, yeah. But listen, that was a bit of frustration. He'd held it together really well. It's something he tries not to do these days, is self-sabotage, and he like lost the plot there a bit, cost him the frame, but he gathered his thoughts. So for Ronnie O'Sullivan fans, that's a sign that he's trying to win. So, you know, he regrouped now and come again.
Well, he did regroup, didn't he? And he applied himself in that last frame to win the match ultimately.
He did. Sam Craigie, beg your pardon. Ross Muir missed a bad ball, actually, in that last frame. He nearly got in and missed the green ball when he was in first. And I thought that was his opportunity for Ross there. But, you know, Ronnie putted a couple of good long balls in that right corner at different points in the frame. And did well to win it, like you say. Didn't win it in one single visit, Jim, but he got the frame and match won in the end.
Yeah, you know, he's Alan McManus said in commentary, you know, he doesn't shy away from a difficult shot in the deciding frame. He seems to play the aggressive shots. There he played a snooker on 23 behind the green because he's not firing in all cylinders. But he'll be delighted to get through. I think Les Dodd will be getting a call from Southport to drive up and sort his tip out because he's the most confident guy he uses to put his tips on.
Yeah, I think we've all learned a lot about all of the tips and how long it takes them to bed in and the old tips versus the new tips. And I think everyone behind the scenes as well, Paul Collier, he had to be called on to help out as well. It's been quite a dramatic afternoon.
It has. I mean, Stephen Hendry used to have a guy called Laurie Annandale who used to be a referee. He flew him out to, I think, Belgium or somewhere because his tip had come off. He flew him over there to put it on. So these guys have got it made, haven't they? You know, they just say, summons people across. I mean, Ronnie did it to... we were in Glasgow and Fraser Patrick wasn't even a tour pro then, and he had to come from his house across the road, and he looked like he'd just got up and put the tip on.
I've got a better one. Ding gets people to knock them in for him.
Yeah, that's right. Well, you could do that, couldn't you? You could get someone to knock the balls in.
Yeah, but you don't really because you hit the ball a certain way, don't you? So, listen, he definitely won't use that tip again because when a tip comes off, you put super glue at the base of the tip, becomes lifeless, and then you do it twice, it's all over. So it will be a new tip, and I'm not sure when he plays again, so he'll have to get on the practice table and sort that out.